Hey, my name's Lawson. I'm a freshman student at Clemson University, and this is my new student dialogue video. A couple weeks ago, I went to my new student dialogue class. We talked about heterosexual norms in a not so totally heterosexual world. We pretty much discussed about how homosexuals are stereotyped in today's world, and obviously, this is a very touchy subject, and to many, is a controversial subject. So coming into this, I was kind of expecting it to be very hard to have a true dialogue. Um, Obviously, we were a bunch of freshmen put into a room, and a lot of us didn't know each other. I personally only knew one kid in the class, so I expected it would be hard for everyone to kind of open up and express their opinions and feelings about the subject. But by the end of the dialogue, everyone had at least put in their opinion, or at least a little bit of their input into the conversation or the dialogue. And I was surprised, but I do believe that we achieved a true dialogue. So that did surprise me. Obviously, when you have a group together and you're going to try to perform a dialogue, you have your active voices, and then you have your reserve voices. Like I said, coming into this, a lot of kids really didn't know each other, so I expected there to be many more reserve voices, and that's kind of how it turned out. We did have some active voices. In particular, there was this one guy who was he had formerly been in the Navy or Army. I can't remember which, but he had a brother-in-law that was gay, so he obviously had an opinion about this, and this subject kind of either hit home with him, or it definitely involved him and his family, and he had his opinions about it, and he wasn't afraid to express them at all. He kind of let everyone know how he felt on the subject of homosexuals, and how he feels that, and how he felt that many of them were stereotyped, and that some of the stereotypes were wrong. There were a couple other kids that put in their opinions periodically throughout the dialogue, so there was a couple other active voices, but by far the guy that had been in the Navy or Army, he was definitely the most active voice in the group. And like I said, there was, for the majority, there were, everyone else had a reserve voice, um, and that was to be expected. Like I said, a lot of us didn't know each other, and it's hard to go into a room and talk about a subject like this, and then be able to express your opinions without worrying what everyone else thinks about the subject and what they think of you. So that's kind of what I expected, and it's kind of what turned out. Um, in my opinion, I wouldn't say that I was a reserved voice, but I definitely was not as active as some of the few kids that were in our group. I expressed my opinions, and I put in my input a couple times throughout the dialogue. So I didn't just sit back and watch and listen to everyone else. So I mean, I put in my input, but I was definitely not one of the more active members in the group. I believe that through Library 100, they set this up to kind of like open up our eyes to kind of see what the issues, at least some of the major issues are in today's world, since we are in college now, and then in either 4 or 5 years for some of us, we will have graduated, and we'll be out in the world, and we'll have to deal with these issues. We'll need to at least be somewhat knowledgeable of them, so we can have our opinions on them. So I think for one reason they set this up is so they could introduce us to some of the many issues that are in the world today. And I also think they did this is to get people to be more technologically savvy. For myself, I'm probably one of the least tech savvy persons you'll ever meet, and this has definitely got me more involved with learning how to do stuff, at least with my phone, which I'm recording right now, and how I'm going to have to put it on the internet and stuff. So I think the other reason they did this was to definitely get more kids technologically savvy, and using like your phone or a camcorder or something, and then using the internet and such things like that to just kind of get us more technologically savvy, because in today's world, technology is just always changing. So as we enter the world, we need to be at least somewhat knowledgeable about the many different technologies we can use. And my opinion about this class, or the new student dialogue I was in, it was definitely interesting to say the least for me. I'm a Christian, so obviously I don't agree with homosexuality, but it definitely opens up your eyes because they did put out some statistics about how many how the suicide rate among the gay and lesbian community is much higher than in the heterosexual community. So I mean, I feel for you. You have to feel for at least for them in that perspective, but it didn't change my mind about how I feel about homosexuality and how I feel that it's wrong. So my opinion was it was definitely interesting. I guess I was glad. I'm glad I went through this experience just to. I think it'll better myself, better me as I go through college, and that you just kind of have to keep your eyes and ears open. You just kind of have to just take things in as they are. So this was my new student dialogue, and I guess that's it.